Sounds good.
And
Nothing
we should be
coming.
live. We should be live.
Oh yeah, there we go. Live
Yep.
now.
See?
We are in fact live now.
Right.
Welcome everybody to what is the seamless perfection that is a Fabio and Simos hangout, Simos and Fabio hangout for the Formula One World Championship, round 13 of Belgium.
Yes.
So yeah, wonderful. Thank you, everybody. I've tried not to look at the other screen, and I've tried to keep my eyes on the camera. So yes, now welcome here. All I can say is we are on full. Let me see if my sound card works. Attack! 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 A full attack for this week's scintillating and engaging Formula One review. We were at Spa, Belgium this week. One of the highlights of the season, this circuit. I've got to say, Spa has always been one of my favourites, not just to play in video games. Oh yes, I play video games. I'm that old. But also to watch live. One of the great circuits that we go to, and it was a fantastic race. If I wasn't so stressed about setting up the hangout, I'd probably be able to talk coherently about it. But nonetheless, we had for the first time, and congratulations to the young man that is the Pacey Pastry, and how fortunate the pastry from Belgium won, which is Leclerc, or Leclerc, I should call him, since he did something great. However, Leclerc won. What a fantastic race. He drove beautifully from the beginning. And there's nothing more to say about his performance other than really quite superlative. Got a little lucky, I feel, in terms of his teammate helping him out by holding up the opposition. But that's fair tactics in Formula One. We don't like to complain about that. So, yeah, off the line, Leclerc took the lead and never looked back. He had a superb strategy. He kept his tyres in. The perfect race from a very young man, and what I can only be described as one of many, many more. I think Lewis drove superbly well and got second place, and I believe it was Seb that got third. I could be corrected there though.
It's Bottas. Bottas got third.
Bottas got third. Seb got fourth.
Fourth.
Fourth. Okay, yeah, good. So overall, not too much change in the championship, but nonetheless, a great drive by Lewis to get second place there. We don't really know what happened to Zeb. He ran out of tyres and just didn't hook it up.
Yeah.
It was dark. He was wearing sunglasses. He ran out of cigarettes. Just to list a few excuses which he probably used. However, the young man, Leclerc, don't take it away from him. What a fantastic race he drove. He kept his tyres in superbly well, considering. And that's enough superlatives from me. Fabio, how
No,
did you
come
feel?
on. I mean, I'm waiting. Come on. I mean, I'm enjoying all of this. I'm not going to interrupt you. Yeah, keep going.
Okay.
It's perfect. I mean, yeah. So, yeah, what about the race? You enjoyed the race? I did.
Yeah, I did enjoy the race. To be honest, it was spoilt a little bit by the tyres, but apart from that, it was a great race.
Oh, yeah, the tires. Fuck it. Yeah, you have to say that, the tires. No,
Yeah.
okay. First of all, we got to stress the fact that a young driver died on Saturday. That spoiled, the party for everybody, especially for Charles. And not
Yeah.
only Charles, but even I think Gasly and
Yes.
there were some other drivers which they actually started with Hubert.
Ocon and I think even Albon
Yeah,
also
yeah,
raced
yeah,
in
yeah.
that one.
So I mean, they started to get in 2005, racing cars. So um, I mean, Leclerc made a very good race. Uh, it was
Yeah.
kind of spoiled for him. Well, bear with me. It wasn't the party that he thought he was going to have. first race, first race he wins in F1. It had to happen in that weekend, so there was a turmoil. The feelings were running high in all balances. So that's the thing. Yeah, the race was fun. I have got to commend the whoever was behind the cameras. They catch all the good stuff going on, and they didn't stop on the first guys in front. They catch some really good duels going on, even in 11th, in 10th place and stuff like that. So all in all, I'm really pleased about that. It was fun to see, entertaining to watch. Yeah, that guy just went by. So.
Yeah, that wasn't someone stealing your motorbike, was it?
No. My motorbike doesn't sound like somebody's farting. So,
Are you sure?
yeah, I'm positive. So,
Okay.
what else? There was some great things going on the back. There was some really weird stuff which I still do not understand. Like, why the fuck did Ricciardo made something like, I think, 40 laps with the same set of tire? Maybe in Renault they've run out of money. They've got no money for the tires. I don't know. That was really puzzling. The other thing which I still cannot explain to myself is why the Haas, both the cars, they were like 20 kilometers slower than everybody else. That was insane. I don't know what the fuck has happened. I don't know.
Yeah, we can only imagine its high downforce settings in order to try and preserve the tyres, which was a failed strategy. And really only Mercedes got close to working. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't got any news, so if that's what you got from your commentary, because we had no idea why the fuck that happened. So what else? I was really, really sorry, and you gotta believe me, I was. Me and my kids were watching the race, and the end of the race was kind of spoiled because of Lando Norris, which was running a fucking fantastic race. It was in fifth place, and his bloody engine just decided to give the fuck up at the last lap. That was so bad. And the other thing which really made us cry was Giovinazzi crashing in the barriers at the very last lap. It was running an amazing race. Kimi, unfortunately, was not up to pace because Verstappen decided to make himself room at the first corner where there was no fucking way he was going there. And it was hilarious that he tried on the radio, he tried to say, oh, well, he turned into me. Yeah, I mean, are you shitting me? He turned into you. Really?
Yeah.
So...
The radio between those, or the radio of those two drivers was absolutely fucking hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, Kimi, which was keep asking, there is some idiot which, got it. I don't know who the fuck that guy was. Fucking kids, something on the line of that. And then at the Eau Rouge, when Verstappen's car, completely fucked up, Kimi almost, actually, I think he hit him again, and on the radio said, it's the same guy, he hit me again. And he asked to this engineer, who the fuck is that guy? And they said, well, we think it was Verstappen. And there was no reply, right? So only Kimi can do that. He ran with a damaged floor. He had something like 20% less efficient. It was a fucking nightmare. So, and which is bad because I mean, Kimi and Spa, it's a good combination. So, regardless, Giovinazzi made a good race. Charles won. Charles won the race starting from, I think, from Saturday, from the qualifying. The Ferrari were able to put both of them on the front. So, I mean, at least one of them had to win, if not both of them. They had problem with the tires. They both had problem with the tires. That's the key issue. The thing is that
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about it a little bit, but the, the the condensed version is that it's a different attitude about the two drivers in managing the car. So uh, Sebastian, which is I think it was a world class driver, in the way he behaved, he didn't complain, he tried to drive over the problems that he had.
Uh,
So I mean, I can't really complain about the guy.
yeah.
It was a teammate, okay? So it was.
Yeah. Let me just say, I don't think it's to do with his driving. I've heard commentary that people are saying, yes, well, he doesn't, he's Leclerc. I don't think so. I think it's that he spent time behind Lewis and Leclerc. And as soon as you spend time behind any cars in Formula One, your tyres go off.
It's
And
yeah.
that's what it comes down to. He spent quite a lot of time behind cars, and therefore his tyres probably weren't going to last to the end of the race. Whereas Charles, of course, was out front for much of the race, didn't have the same problems, and was able to keep his tyres in. Although he still did a superb job to keep his tyres in. I'm not trying to take it away from Leclerc. I'm just trying to say, well, hang on, there are many more excuses
Right.
for Vettel as to why he couldn't keep up. Just like we found out last year with Lewis and Valtteri, whoever was in front kept their tyres, and whoever was behind didn't. Right? So, you
Uh,
know,
okay. I mean, I understand your point. I'm not going to contend your point. I personally think that there is something a little bit more about that, and it is something which has to do with the way that Sebastian likes his car.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I'll try to be super brief, okay? I don't want to bore you with me rambling, but one of the characteristics of Sebastian is that he is always like a really firm rear. That's what he likes, and I'm talking about when he was winning in Red Bull, right? It's not the kind of driver like, for example, Kimi or Leclerc, which they really like a front, the front part very strong, and they can drive with the rear, which is kind of loose. They
mm,
love that. I
yeah,
mean, they can drive with that. Sebastian, he doesn't like that. The moment that he sees that he feels that the front is moving, especially under braking, he just
yeah,
loses confidence, and it's a big problem. Because if you watch the race, both the Ferraris had the same problem. They were, I mean, Charles, every corner he was, oversteering. Every fucking corner. He probably had the same issue that Sebastian had, but he could ride with that. While Sebastian, when he feels that kind of movement, he just freaks the fuck out. He can't drive anymore.
mm, I see.
And so this would be my analysis, and and I'm basing what I'm saying on the way he drove with Red Bull, the year when Ricciardo was on Red Bull and the car was changed, and apparently it seems to be that Ricciardo was a way faster driver than Sebastian. It's only because he didn't feel that confident with the rear. So that would be my thought.
Sure. Okay.
So
Okay. Well, again, I won't dispute that too
yeah,
much because obviously it was clear that Ricardo was the equal of Vettel that year. And that was an improvement over the previous year where Vettel was all dominating.
right.
Uh, I'm not sure, as I say, I think we may be being a little hard on Vettel here because, as I say, I don't think any driver can keep his tyres in. I grant you what you're saying
Uh
about
huh.
him preferring a car which understeers or
Yeah.
is neutral. I mean, let's not say understeer because that's not wouldn't be correct. But Vettel definitely prefers cars which are neutral,
Yeah.
and that's the way he keeps tyres in because it's easier to keep a car tyres that is neutral as opposed to oversteering, which is much harder to keep the tyres alive.
Right. I mean, and keep
Um,
in mind that I'm far from critiquing Sebastian. I mean, the guy has won 4 world titles, so I mean, fuck it, right?
yeah, yeah.
I don't think the guy can be really discussed. It's just my impression is that it is
Hmm.
the way he drives. So, and he doesn't feel really confident with a car which doesn't behave the way he wants. Now,
Absolutely.
now,
Yeah.
if that's true, and I'll quit, if that's true, that opens a really bright future for Leclerc, because the and again, I don't want this to be that I'm sounding to be a critique towards Sebastian, but if you have a really fast driver is the one which can ride a car with oversteer. Because understeer is easy. You know, it's always safe, right?
Neutral. Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Well,
Okay.
neutral would be the perfect thing. But I mean, what I'm saying is that what I would do with Charles, I would give him a really extreme car, and an extreme car is one which oversteers. You have a very firm front,
Yeah.
and you eventually lose it at the back because apparently the guy can fucking drive that way. And
Yes.
if you can do that, you're fucking set for life. Cause
Ish.
yeah,
Yes. But I would agree with some of what you're saying and not other parts. The parts I would agree with is, yeah, it's probably on average faster around the track to have an oversteer rather than understeer or neutral. I mean, let's not even go near understeer. Let's just call it neutral cars.
hmm
But in the past, the more consistent drivers are drivers which can drive fast with a neutral car. So
right,
I'm not sure. I mean, and again, the past is different because of tires, etc. But generally, you keep tires in if your car is neutral.
right. Well,
So,
I mean,
but to be able to hang on a second, to be able to drive fast with a neutral car is more difficult than to drive fast with an oversteer car, right? Even
right.
though the skill level is different, a different type of skill, right? I mean, I'm remembering, like Damon Hill is a really good example, where he could keep his tyres in for long periods of time, and because he preferred a neutral car and was able to get the corner speeds to the maximum,
Yes.
right, and keep that going.
No, no,
And that's quite a skill. It's much harder to get a neutral car round a corner fast than it is to get an oversteering
right.
car round a
No,
corner
no,
fast.
but I agree with you.
Now, and the second point, just quickly,
So,
is that of course Kimi is famous for preferring an oversteer, and Ferrari just couldn't provide him that car consistently, right? Because it is difficult to get these cars to perform in a straight line really quick and get them through the corners really quick if your car is not using the downforce in a very efficient way, which generally means if the rear downforce is too low, then your car is going to be less efficient. You can't just keep bunging on front downforce to get over that problem, and if you do, you're slowing the car down considerably in a straight line. So you can't always do that with the right downforce levels that
no,
you're
no, no.
looking
But I mean, I agree with you. What I'm just saying is that, of course, if you have the luxury of having a fast car which is neutral, yeah, okay, I agree with you.
Yes.
That's what everything aims for. What I'm saying is that any if you want to push a car, the limit of the project that you have, eventually you will have to go with the route that you will have. The first thing you lose is the rear. That's the first thing you lose. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you want efficiency and all that shit, that's the first thing you lose. Because it helps you a lot. This is where, and again, I'm talking about pushing the limit of a car.
The
If you
limits.
if you have a car which is fast enough compared to the other ones, and sorry, let me rephrase that. If you can't set up a neutral car which is faster than the other one, and you have to push it to get something more, you will lose the rear. If if what I'm saying is right, if what I saw from the race is right, this is really good news for Charles and not so much good news for Sebastian with the actual car, which is not a very good car. I mean, I think I'm talking about the Ferrari. I mean, I think we established that during the year so far. On average, I'm saying.
Mm.
Uh, I I mean, we saw the car going well in Australia, in Australia, no, in Montreal, sorry, in Montreal, in Bahrain. We saw it going well in Spa. Those are very low downforce circuits, and this
Yeah,
is apparently what the car is performing really well.
yeah.
So on average, I wouldn't call that a very good car.
I see.
Uh,
I see.
so I mean, we'll see what the fuck it happens, but it sounds like it might be interesting. Right now, it's going to be way more interesting for Charles than for Sebastian. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
I would tend to agree with that. I think when you take off the rear downforce, that's going to lead you to, or allow you to have oversteer much more easily without compromising straight line speed. And of course, it's going to be the same at Monza. So I
Yeah,
think Sebastian should be worried for Monza if he doesn't get pole position and get out in front.
right.
He's got a big problem coming. And if it happens again, then yeah, for sure, the days must be Vettel must be worried about that. He's going to be putting himself because if he loses again to Charles on a low downforce circuit, then what does that say about his driving ability and how it's going? I'm not sure that he's that concerned because, like with the Ricardo year at Red Bull, I thought once Vettel realised his car wasn't a championship winning car, I thought Vettel didn't give it 110% in inverted commas.
Yeah.
I thought he backed off a little bit to 98% or whatever, whereas Ricardo still had the motivation in terms of beating his teammate. And I don't think Vettel has that same motivation. I really don't. I think if he's not in it for the championship,
Yeah.
then
I
he
mean,
doesn't care about winning against his teammate.
to be totally fair with you, I, I mean, it kind of sucks from a spectator point of view, but I can't really blame the guy, right? I mean,
Well,
if
it's
you,
multiple
I
world
mean,
champion.
well, there is. I think there is a difference. People like Leclerc or even Lewis right now, or uh, it's a little bit different for them compared to people like Leclerc or Bottas or Norris or some other people.
Mm-hmm.
To them, winning is an achievement. For
Yeah,
people like Lewis and Sebastian, the achievement is winning the world championship.
indeed.
So if you at a certain point you realize you cannot do that, I mean it sucks because you don't see very good races. But I can't really, go and point the finger and tell, yeah, you suck, guys.
I mean, I've seen this from many repeating world champions.
Yeah,
Champions. I mean, Alonso also, of course, it does. You did the same for a few years after his championships until he finally went, oh well, sorry, I'll just give it 100%
right,
every race.
right.
You know what I mean? So then eventually, when the car was so shit that he had no chance of even getting in
Yeah.
there, then he used to just drive the wheels off it again.
Michael wasn't like that. I don't think that Michael wasn't like that. Even when he went away and got back in Mercedes,
Mm,
the car wasn't a very good car, but he fought a lot.
yes,
So I think it's I mean again it's different human beings, it's different attitudes, it's different breeds. So yeah, it's very complicated to make comparison, but yeah, I would say. But
I think.
you said something about, sorry, before I forget, you said something interesting. You mentioned Monza, which is the next race. Now, uh, I have no fucking idea what's going to happen in Monza, but one thing I know is that I think that we will see top speeds which are fucking insane because I can't remember in my life people making. I think I saw something like 355 kilometers an hour at Spa, which is fucking
Oh,
insane.
yeah.
So I don't know what the fuck is going to happen in Monza, but I think there's going to be some, especially for the German guys, which seems to be that the guys which still love top speed. It's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the highest speed I've seen at Monza is about 355.
I
I don't.
think Monza they got something in 370.
Okay, that's news to me.
I think I might be wrong.
I think Force India. Well, again, maybe this was in the race, so perhaps
Yeah.
in qualifying it might be slightly different. But yeah, I don't think I've seen speeds that high. I think no, I don't think I've ever seen speeds that high. 355 is about the most I've ever seen out of a Formula One car. Force India back in the day. And obviously they had next to no downforce on at the time. So, but anyway, we shall see. We'll see. The
Yeah.
Michael thing, Michael made his trademark on racing from lights to flag, 100%. Right. So I don't think he's a special case. I think in this, like, oh well, I can't win the race, so I just back off a couple of percent. I don't think it even crossed his mind ever to back off on any lap at any point, regardless of how bad the car was. So I think he's a special case in that respect. Um, yeah. So the other thing is, yeah, I mean, with the 8 gears, maybe we will get up to 360, 370. Who knows?
I don't know. I'm just checking.
You
While you're saying, I think that. Oh no, that's the average speed. It's not the top speed. Oh,
Hmm.
sorry. So yeah, forget about that.
Okay.
I'm looking about it
Well,
because
you look it up, and I'll just go on. I'll drone on a little more.
yeah,
Albon's race from the back to fifth place, even with the lucky retirements, etc., etc. He really did drive a great race again. He was disappointed because he didn't start out so hot, but of course, yeah, he was on a different tire. He was on the medium tire, and everybody else was on the soft tire. So I'm not really that surprised that he struggled to get past people. Plus, of course, the Red Bull isn't the fastest car in a straight line, so it's not that suited to this circuit. But once he put the right tyre on, once he got that soft tyre on, and everybody else was on the mediums, wow, he cut through the field. And he did really well to get fifth place, I think. I'm very excited about watching Albon drive because um, he seems to be extremely controlled driver and yet really risky.
yeah,
He seems to go for some very dodgy overtakes, or at least he puts his car in a position which seems a little dodgy at the moment. But then maybe he'll get away with it, whereas Max doesn't. Difficult to say, really. And the other thing is the Max Verstappen crash. Yeah, I mean,
holy shit,
again,
that
I'm
car.
very disappointed because he took Kimi out, and
Yeah,
Kimi is a specialist at Spa.
yeah,
So it would have been amazing to see Kimi up there at the end, as opposed to Perez, who tried to run Albon off the road,
yeah.
and again,
Again.
and and the others that getting past the Renaults, etc., would have been no problem for Kimi. Um, Giovanni, I thought he had a
Giovinazzi.
very quiet race.
Yeah.
And yeah, he might have been a little unlucky to go out at Eau Rouge. It does seem strange that he lost grip on the rear end.
I think,
So,
sorry, I saw the video and he just stepped onto the whatever fake grass there is on the border and just lost it
yeah.
like that.
Right. Okay. Okay.
And
Well,
so and the check top speeds. I can't find an exact figure, but they were in the 370 area top speed.
okay. Okay. Fair enough. I'll bow to that. We'll see. Maybe I'm just thinking of race speeds, which are obviously a little lower as opposed to the
Yeah,
flat.
average speed was something about 260 on the
No, no,
lap.
no. This was down the main straight, the
Oh,
speed trap at the end of the main straight.
yeah.
During the race, I distinctly remember being 355, but
It might be that you remember the top speed before the parabolica.
no, no,
Okay.
this down the main straight into
Okay. Gotcha. Well, anyway, yeah.
Petrofilia or something like that. No, I don't know. No. I don't know. Into the Grazia Milano, Petrofilia, Curvy, Grandioso.
Sorry. Yeah. Now you're taking the piss of me. But can I say another thing? how lovely is to race on a circuit like Silverstone and Spa and Monza, where the corners they have actual names. It's not corner number one, corner number two. What the fuck is that? Yeah, but corner number five. What the fuck is corner number five?
Yeah,
How
yeah.
lovely is that?
It is. It is better because, of course, they're great names as well.
Yeah, I mean,
But maybe we've got to give these new circuits time to bed in, time to get some history where they can name the circuit the
yeah.
corner. There'll be nothing worse than giving them all names and then something amazing happening and then not being able to change the name of the corner because we've always called it some made up name from the beginning.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, like the Cenaresses, and I mean those are classic names, right?
Yeah,
So,
but I mean, think how better would have been, when Leclerc, just smashed the car in Baku just before the castle, and that was corner number whatever the fuck. Instead, it was the corner name. Oh fuck me, here comes the castle. That's the corner. Fuck me, here comes the castle. Yeah, he crashed into fuck me, here comes the castle.
yeah, absolutely. Mind you, there you go. Let me just have another wrong button mouse. Too many bleeding confusers. Let me just see. Ding dong.
Ding dong, are we going to see a race now?
Good. And let me just check the old thingy here. No sign of him. And also, there's no chat in the side chat. Okay, we're good to go. Right, just onwards then. I mentioned Albon. Is anybody you mentioned Hubert?
Oh yeah, what was the guy? Yeah, Kvyat. The guy which who was the guy which was fired? No, Gasly. Sorry, Gasly. Made a interesting race. Apparently, he made a better race than the one he was making when he was with the Red Bull, which is, I mean, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with those guys. But it's another. I guess it's another victory for Bloomfield. I mean Marco.
Marco, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he looks like Bloomfield, from 007. So it's another. I guess it's another victory for Spectre. That's what I'm saying.
Blofeld, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a cat, but I'm sure he does have one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's it. No, again, I was really sorry for Lando Norris. I couldn't believe how fast it was going. It was thick. Granted, there were some things going on. Verstappen was not in the race. Kimi was not in the race. So probably, if nothing was happening, would have probably be gravitating towards seventh and eighth, stuff like that. But still, was fifth.
Yeah.
And was so disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, he was lucky because in some respects, again, because the start, because Verstappen crashed into Raikkonen, and also there was a problem with two other cars, a Racing Point and a Renault, I think, also coming together. So he was lucky in that respect that he managed to get places right at the beginning, but he didn't drop them like you'd expect, right? So again, obviously, because it's the characteristics for this particular circuit and the tyres, that as soon as you get behind one of these cars, you're doomed to failure. It almost seems like so a bit disappointing. And I guess this is a sign for Monza, where it's going to be a pretty much processional race. So again, this puts much more stress on pole position. And if Sebastian doesn't get his shit together and beat Leclerc to pole position, then he's in for another heavy race as far as I can see. But it's going to be pretty much more of the same, I think. I love Monza. I genuinely love Monza. It would be my last dream to go and see a race there. And I, mainly because of the high speeds and the downforce. I used to really love Hockenheim in the old days.
Yeah. I think Monza is one of those tracks that they cannot really build anymore.
Yeah. These modifications. I mean, going back to the 80s, it was even more. It had that fast. The first chicane was faster. You know what I mean? I mean, they crippled the first chicane.
Oh, the first chicane is fucking insane. I mean, I've been there. I've seen that. It's unbelievable because basically, well, not so much with the cars, right? But with the motorcycles, you're basically going backwards.
Yeah.
So the corner is you're going back. It's totally fucked up.
Yeah, totally. If you look back to the 80s, like video, it's actually quite an open chicane.
Yeah.
And hence, the speeds coming out of it going into, I think it is the Rettifilo in after the first chicane, isn't it? Is that right?
The Rettifilo, I think it's. I'm not sure if it's the one behind.
Oh, okay, maybe.
But anyway.
Anyway, whichever. That's like it's a flat out right-hander, and when I say flat out, I mean absolutely pedal to the metal flat out. I remember Alonso overtaking on the outside there one year, and wow, how exciting! Anyway, the point being is that with as soon as you get into these low downforce settings, the cars come alive, and it's always been that way at Monza. So how fantastic it is to be there next week!
Yeah, it's going to be interesting also because Ferrari is going to bring a new engine. I mean, also was the thing that in Spa, a lot of teams brought new engines to B teams. Mercedes did that.
Yeah, they tried to. Yeah.
I mean, they brought it. It didn't work really that well, So.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll see what the fuck happens. So they should have a new engine. The car is blazing fast on the straight. Actually, it was. I mean, I know I really sound German right now, but it was so cool to see the Mercedes with the DRS open. They were only able to match top speed of the Ferrari in front without the DRS. That was unbelievable. I mean, especially with those camera angles from the helicopter, and you see that other car with the DRS open, it couldn't get 1 meter. It was insane.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed myself in the respect of not that it's a Mercedes behind, because obviously that's against my man Lewis, but for the fact that this is how polarized these cars have become this year, right? In respect of the downforce settings have become so critical in that not the downforce as in the maximum downforce you can get, but the efficiency of the downforce has become very, very critical.
They're all compromised.
I'm not happy with that because it seems to me like Ferrari have sacrificed some of their downforce for efficiency, which is a good thing, but it makes their cars streamlined, which doesn't mean they're good on all circuits like we would expect a World Championship car to be. And vice versa, it's clear that Mercedes have gone for less efficient downforce, but the ability to get more, especially at the front end, I would say. That's what it appears to me, and as such, they're going to do better at the high downforce circuits.
I think that this year
I'm disappointed by that.
Sorry. I think that this year what has happened with Ferrari is that they tried to make a better car, and they tried to advance in some aspects, and it didn't turn out to be an overall better car. So they're probably better in some aspects, but they failed, to make an overall better car. That's what I was saying at the beginning. It's not a good car because it only goes well in in very particular instances with very particular characteristics. So that's not the type of car you're going to win the World Championship.
Well, I mean, they've been trying to slow the cars down, and one of the ways they've done that is to take out really fast long straights with low downforce settings, right? Or the tracks that have those have been slowly reduced. Like we're talking in Monza, which is the classic one. They've reduced the hairpins and etc. to the chicanes to make them so slow as to reduce the top speeds at the end of the straights, and that has a consequence and a follow-on to the amount of downforce that you can run or is worth running to increase speeds. The same thing at Brazil, right? Now, Brazil normally used to have you could get away with a medium to low downforce setting at Brazil, and you would make up enough time during the uphill parts and the straights, the back straight, as to counteract the difference that you were losing during the midsection, right? Same thing with Spa, right? Now you can't do that at Spa anymore. You have to go for the slightly higher downforce in order to keep the tyres in, etc., etc. So again, I'm a little disappointed that we've had this, circumcision of these circuits.
No, you're right. That's why I'm kind of interested. So
Let me say,
I'm not holding my breath, right?
yeah.
But I'm kind of interested in what they are trying to achieve with the 2021 new rules. I've listened to an interview from Ross Brown, and basically one of the goals they're trying to achieve is that the downwash from the car in front, it should only affect the other car by something like a 10%.
Yeah,
Which should
we
be,
know that's not actually going to happen, but nonetheless, it should be.
No, you're right. That's why I said that I'm not holding my breath about that, but from a purely engineering point of view, I'm really curious to see if they're going to be able to achieve that, and B, how they're going to be able to achieve that, because that is going to imply a massive redesign of the car, and there might be some really crazy rules, really tightening up all the aero things. So yeah, that might be really interesting. We'll see what happens.
I scoff at it because the 10% figure I don't think is realistic, but even reducing it to say 20% or 25% is an improvement over what we've currently got. So I'm all for changing the rules in this way. But we've been here before, and we know that the teams would just need that downforce. They want that downforce in order to A, balance the cars, and then B, at these slower circuits, right, to get more lap time. It's crucial to the lap time of low speed circuits. And that's my issue, is that in the past 10, 15 years, we've been changing it to Tilke circuits, and not just the Tilke circuits, the slow Tilke circuits.
Yes.
Right?
Well, I mean, you know what the thing.
These circuits in order to slow the cars down, in order to make them safer. Now we're in the problem where they can't do without this downforce. If we take all the downforce off, we're just going to have the same problem that we had last time, which was any car behind another car is going to wear its tyres out even quicker. Right? Which means there are in front that actually wins the race every time. So I don't see this as a solution, but anyway.
Well, I mean, you're just preaching to the choir. You know how bad I think about the circuits from Tilke. We've talked about it before, and you also know that I'm a big fan of having cars which have a proper mechanical grip. The fact of the matter is that the performance that those cars they achieve right now, unless we want to rethink the old sport altogether, can only be achieved with a massive influx from the aerodynamic part. There is no way around it.
Yeah.
So I understand Ross Brown's approach of we got that, we tried to limit that. They started this year with a very low number of end plates on the front wing. That's a road, which is interesting because we see this year, for example, I mean, at least we saw two different schools of thought. One of them is working, the other one is not. But just the fact of seeing different things happening at the same time, it is interesting. And I'm just talking from a purely engineering point of view. So
no, you're right. You're right. Yeah. You're right. From the racing point of view, again, I worry because of the tyres, right? And
you always worry about the tyres.
I always worry about tyres. It seems to be the Formula One thing for me.
Yeah.
But
they're going to be 18-inch rims in 2021.
Yeah, even worse.
Yeah.
Right? Even worse.
And lower profile. So.
Yeah. Even worse. So we're talking more sliding. We're talking quicker to wear out.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
we're talking. Yes, you may be able to follow a car, but at what cost? The cost being that you can only do it for a lap before your tires are shot.
Everything you love is going to happen.
There you
Yeah,
go.
they
Anyway,
really listen to you, Simon. Yeah.
I don't think there is a solution. That's why.
There is.
I genuinely do not think there is a proper solution to
There
this.
isn't. I mean, I think that there are some really big engineering problems. If you think, I mean, just think about you have got to build a tire which is going to be able to go on for something like so it was
3 races.
27, like 140 kilometers, like 100 miles.
Yeah.
And on those 100 miles, there'll be top speeds of like 360, 370 kilometers an hour. If you think about it, I mean, if you buy, I'm not saying, I mean, I hope you can buy that, but those suckers which buy a Bugatti Veyron, which apparently got a 400 kilometers an hour top speed, when they do that speed, the tire only lasts 5 minutes.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And they're special made tires. So I think there's some things from an engineering point of view that you get to a point that you either get that or fuck it. You can't do that. So
yeah, I mean, in the end, this is what Goodyear decided. It's like, well, screw the FIA. We're going to actually make tires which last the whole race, right? That are hard enough to not give us the problems of that seem to afflict Pirelli here.
I don't think it's going to be. I know it is because of regulation right now. I don't think. I might be wrong, but I don't think that right now with the speed and the performance of the car, it might be able to make a tire which is going to last a whole race on all the tracks.
I have no doubt they can. I actually have no doubt they can.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, unless we're talking about taking the performances way down. So you have to slow them a lot in order to preserve the tires.
Yes, with much lower performance. Yeah, much lower.
Oh yeah, I mean, okay, if we're talking about but you see, it's a very short blanket that we are trying to pull, because if you want performances, you gotta. It's problematic. I don't know. I mean,
completely. I mean, look at the solution they're coming up with is not to heat the tires.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just crazy, right? I mean, that's not Formula One. What are you talking about? Don't heat the tires. Come on, Oh dear, it's gimmicks. It's more gimmicks, I'm afraid. But anyway, I mean, we're at the beck and behest of what they call entertainment here.
Yeah.
And I understand why they're doing it, etc. But for me, Formula One has been about the engineering challenge. That's really where the sport lies. And when they take that away from the sport more and more, I'm just gonna go, well, it's IndyCar. We may as well be watching IndyCar, and IndyCar is more exciting because at least they just race on the ovals, going 270 miles an hour.
Yeah, but that's the thing, Every race with the race in the same car is more exciting. It is.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, F1 is not only the driver; it's also the engineer which is behind that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It should be an engineering challenge. I mean, it should be. That's the point of Formula One.
Right.
These are prototypes, right? Every year, new car, new developments, new engineering, new superlative standards set, right? In reliability and ingenuity. And Adrian Newey is the lead designer. Why? Why is he the lead designer? Why does he get paid so much money? Because he's the one that can actually build the cars that go the fastest.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that still happens. It's only that right now the difference are really are way more difficult to figure out than several years ago. There is way more money into that. There are tools which are different. Oh, talking about tools, before I forget, I think you're gonna like that. And I'm changing topic completely. But
Okay.
I listened to Jacques Villeneuve on Sky Italy, and loves the guy. I mean, who doesn't love the guy, right?
Who again? Say again.
Jacques Villeneuve.
Oh yeah, Jack. Oh yeah, love Jack. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he was talking about the accident, which happened on Saturday, and he was furious about two things, which I think we should mention now and eventually talk about next time because it's already almost an hour. But he
Yeah.
was furious about two things. The first one is the fact that uh, there are, how do you call, they're not escape routes, so you have the track and then you don't have gravel, but you have asphalt. He was furious about that because he said, if you have asphalt, the new drivers, they don't feel the limit because if you go there, you can always get back in the track. You don't lose anything, so there's way less risky.
Mhm.
And the other thing which was furious about, and I think the guy actually has a point, I never thought about that, was the simulators. He says that the simulator, the driving sims that he used, it says that this is the thing which has taken away kind of like the fear even from the new drivers,
Mm.
because if you tried Eau Rouge already on with the simulator, you already know how it goes, and then you go with a car and you take it with the same approach and speed as the simulator, but it's not exactly the same thing, and bad shit happens.
Yeah.
I think the guy has a point, and I think we should think about it and talk about next time after Monza, where we will see another Ferrari win. I hope.
I would expect, yes.
Just crossing. I'm
Uh,
crossing my
yeah,
dick right
he's
now.
got some points, and of course he's famous for. I think he crashed like 3 times at Eau Rouge one weekend trying to take flat, right? So no one could accuse him of not fucking having the balls to do it.
Yep.
But I would wonder how many times he tried that in the simulator first. That would be my question right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's wrap it up there. Thank you so much, Fabio. I really appreciate you as always. It's been fantastic commentary. If anybody has any comments or questions that they'd like to ask, or preferably comments about Jacques Villeneuve, put them in the comment section down below, and we will read them out next time. And I would just say thank you so much, and ciao, Fabio.
Ciao, ciao.